G'day viewers, it's Michael here again and welcome back to Single Racer. And in today's video I want to merge two totally separate and random stories together because in a strange way they correlate to each other, and so if you can bear with me just for a few minutes I'll explain how these two random situations came together. And so in the first story, I was simply racing online with one of my fellow Australian subscribers, Simon Olsen, and we were sort of half cruising, half racing, but we were also discussing the merits of our totally opposite driving styles. And his style is more to attack the corner and use power on oversteer, but the crucial part here was that he does it from the apex onwards, meaning the second half of the corner, and powers out in a power on oversteer out of the corner. Whereas you all often hear me talking about my slow in fast out style, which is totally opposite. Now in the end we just simply agreed to disagree, that we're too old and too stubborn to change our styles, but we just left it at that. But now the second story, which is totally unrelated to the first, is the return of one of my favourite channels, a channel by the name of Mystx24. And that's simply because he was having a brake problem with some of his sim racing gear and struggled to even be competitive because of that problem. Now he seems to have fixed that and is back with a vengeance. And if you don't know this channel, I think he's an alien, but his reputation was to try and break and usually get world records in project cars too. But now he's adopted Automobilista 2 under his wing because, you know, they are very similar. And so how in my head these two stories merged together, being so different, was because I normally try not to compete against Mystx24 because he's just so fast, but it's usually in the more powerful cars because, simply put, he has even more skill to get the best out of those cars, and he just takes off and leaves me for dead. But the thing is that in a car like this, so this is the Lancer RS version, or in other words slower, less powerful 4-door and 2-door cars, the car itself is the limiting factor, and he doesn't have that advantage anymore. So he can't just use the sheer power of the car to pull away from me, and I have a much better chance of, if not beating him, at least keeping up with him. And so here is how the two stories merge together, because his favourite track, or the only track that he really likes to do these records on, is Bathurst. And Bathurst, of course, being an Australian, is my favourite track as well, or at least one of them. And so what's interesting here is Bathurst lends itself to my style, but only partially. And so what I'm talking about is, you know, I've often used the phrase before, slow in, fast out, and I've often also said that I hate that term. It should be balanced in, fast out, but there's an extra caveat while racing Mystx24, and that's because I just simply use the term, you know, it's a throwaway line, slow in, fast out. But in this situation where I'm racing him, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to load 3 ghost cars. Now apologies for the shaky VR because I have to do this live, but I'm going to load his ghost car, the second place ghost car, and my session time ghost car when I finish the first lap. And I'm going to do it in Mystx's usual scenario that he does on his channel, which is to do 3 laps. And however I finish in those 3 laps, I just accept. So I'm going to show you that I'm doing it live, and whatever happens in those 3 laps happens. But the caveat is that, you know, it's the throwaway line of slow in, fast out. But what I'm talking about is that I brake, when I brake in a straight line before the corner, so the car dips. But then what I try and do is then start to accelerate before I've even hit the corner. And what this does is lift the front of the car onto the back wheels, and I actually accelerate a car or two into the corner before what Mystx24 seems to do. And it's a great way to physically show you against the ghost car how even as I approach the corner, if the ghost car comes in front of me, I don't care, because all I'm doing is setting up the corner for that slow in fast out. So I thought, what a great way to show Simon Olsen, Mystx24, and also my brother Andrew, who all have that similar style, the way I approach the first few corners. The great thing with Bathurst is it has long straights after the first few corners, but as you go over the hill, suddenly that advantage gets taken away because all the corners are very highly compacted together, and suddenly Mystx has the edge. So what a great way to show you against a visible ghost car how this all works. So if you're interested, hopefully continue on with the video and we'll see how we go. And so we'll bring this conversation to its natural close by saying I'm going to attempt to hot lap against the top 2 ghost cars plus my own, and try and go at the very least for a podium and see how my style stacks up against theirs, and you know, we'll just, whatever happens happens. So hopefully you'll enjoy the world record attempt, and we'll see you know, what naturally happens. So this is Michael signing out for Single Racer. I'll catch you next time. See you later, and let's go Mystx24 world record hot lapping. Okay folks, so as I load the first 2 ghost cars, Mystx and the second person there, I won't try and pronounce his name. Let's get set and just remind you about, while it loads, about how I brake in a straight line, yet then accelerate before I even start turning to lift the car onto the back wheels, to try and then accelerate much earlier, so a car or 2 lengths before, to try and get that maximum speed down the straight. And the first important thing is we want to set up that first corner for a good run on the start finish line. So there's the 2 ghost cars plus my session time, and we're off. Okay, so the key thing here is I want to even go just a tiny bit slower, just to make sure that I get a good entry to cross the start finish line there. And now, like I said, I don't care if the ghost cars do pass me here, because it's all about setting up this corner. So here, see, I brake and now start to accelerate now, and see you get the speed coming out of the corner. Now luckily I'm in front, but given the skill of Mystx24, I know that won't last, so I'm kind of panicking. Plus, I'm not a good leader. I must admit that's my weakest point, is I'm a much better chaser than a leader. But now I'll do the same thing. So I'll brake a little bit earlier, power on oversteer, and now see, turn into the slide. And that lets me get the power down much quicker. Now, again, I've gained a bit more, but I'm saying that very nervously. Here again, even though it's not quite as straight, but power on early, so you get the power down to get as much speed. Now here I just got to hold it, hang on. I'm so close to that fence. But yeah, I love these next few corners, and it's you really got to hold your breath and just hope not to slide into the walls here, as I just hold the gear now and just try and keep from sliding into the sand. Now this is where my weakest part comes in, because see, I have to brake early for the corners, but I can't set up the corner because there's just one corner after the other. So this is where Mystx24 has incredible skill through this section. But I'm in front of the second place ghost car, which is good. So as long as I try and get a good run out of here, just try and keep up with Mystx24. He's not pulling away too much, which is good. But to me, the crucial part is that last corner. if you can carry as much speed onto this Conrod straight as possible, to me that's where you make the lap. But I must admit it's not one of my best corners, and unfortunately it seems to be a really good corner for Mystx. So let's try and brake early again. I want to try and pick up the speed here. So now power on early and try and get that speed. Now I'm not catching him, but I'm not losing him as well. Well, I am a little bit, but we won't. We'll try and ignore that. So, okay, second lap, set up the corner. So, oh, that was bad. That was bad. All right. Well, that's going to be harder to see. They're already both in front now. So ignore them. Just try and ignore them and set up the corner. Accelerate now, power on through. That was much better through there. So I still gained through my slow in fast out technique, but okay, Mystx has got more speed. See, that's interesting because I probably was down maybe a kilometre or two and just couldn't carry the speed right down the straight, and that's why it's so important to get it right. So again, brake early, try and drift into it, try and hold it. And he's pulling away from me, and that all has to do with how well you come out of that corner and how much speed you carry. So I just want to, there's now my ghost car and the second place ghost car as well. So that's why we have 3 cars instead of 2 now. So I'm clearly not doing good in this lap, and that's what I wanted to do, is just do the 3 laps the way he does it, and whatever happens, happens. But it's a great example still of, just setting up the corner and how crucially important it is. And you can clearly see how poorly I'm doing in this second lap by not doing that very first corner well in the first place. Now, one thing that Simon Olsen talks about is he says he hates racing against the ghost car because it puts him off, which I totally understand. But the thing that I feel that it adds benefit to you is when you're racing online against real opposition, it kind of helps you learn how to ignore them and try and focus on the track itself. So you're always getting maximum speed to how the opposition cars allow you to if you have room, but also how to set up with the opposition to maybe get a better line through the corners as you're fighting with them. So it just helps me racing against the ghost car, and that's the way I like it. So that's Mystx and my ghost car up in front, but I'm still ahead of second place, which is good. So I think I've got that locked down, as long as I don't, crash and throw it away in these 3 laps. So now let's set up the corner. So brake a little bit earlier. Oh no, that was poor as well. Oh, gee. This is the Mystx24 thing of, whatever happens in the 3 laps happens. Now, I'm ahead, so that's good. So let's set up this a bit better. That's much better. That's it. Now, power on out of the corner. Okay, so I'm ahead of my ghost car, I think, yep. But oh no, there goes my ghost car, I think, and there's Mystx. So I could still break my time, so focus here, focus. Let's get a better second corner here. So brake earlier as well, power slide into the corner, but then straighten up. See, that's much better. See, I'm much straighter now coming out of the corner. I'm trying to catch Mystx, he's just so quick. So clearly that first lap was the best, as I try and here now, power on, that's it. So I'm still ahead of myself. No. Oh, now they're both in front of me. So just those minute things that you've got to get so right. But I'm still in it. I can still beat my own time. I just got to do the second half of the track better. And this is where you've got to focus. You've got to try and stay focused. As I nearly hit that wall. Man, oh man, that's a tough corner. Oh, this was a bit better. Now come on, Mick, down. Do this bit properly. It's so hard because you're fighting against the weight of the cars. It wants to slide in the opposite way. Come on. Catch at least myself. I definitely can't catch Mystx, which I kind of knew anyway, but through here, can I come out through here faster? No, I've done my best lap at the start, so it just goes to show, sometimes you just can't beat that perfect lap. You know, it's trying to get the perfect lap. Now, I didn't get the perfect lap, so I still feel that I could actually catch Mystx24 if I managed to put it all together, and you can see the variation in the 3 laps. But the good thing here is, see, I set up the corner. Now, I don't know if you saw that in the rearview mirror, because I did, is the second place really caught me then, but it's that key of still getting the power coming out of that corner, and let's try and hope that I can do the same here, and then just pull away from that second place. Yeah, so beautiful. So, okay, we'll call it, that's the 3 laps, but at least I've got the second place here. So I'll just pull up here, and you know, I couldn't catch Mystx24, but I kind of knew that anyway, as we there's the marshal there sitting in the box, and he doesn't look quite happy with me. I think he's crossed his arms in disgust that I didn't beat Mystx, but we'll leave it at that. So there's my time, so 35.0 compared to 35.5. So I reckon I can catch him. I just got to get everything perfect. So let's go out now and see, hopefully my time recorded, because sometimes I lose the internet connection and it doesn't save it, unfortunately. So I'll just keep my fingers crossed. Let's see. Come on, I want the second place. I want the second place because there's one more caveat that's important to me. Yes, I've got it. And that is that I didn't use a setup, and neither did Mystx24, which is excellent. So we've got the top 2 times without a setup, which, is important to me because I like to allow other people to race against me. So if you think you can, have a go. So this is Michael signing out for Single Racer. I'll catch you next time. See you later.